For Jeremy Porter, life was good. Jeremy is a typical junior in high school with a pretty normal family. Dad works, mom stays at home, and his 8th grade sister is just little drama. Oh, and of course, there's Lefty, the family dog. Jeremy's got great friends. Most of them play varsity basketball with him. And Jeremy's girlfriend never misses any of their games. As a Jesus follower, Jeremy has stood out. He knows his good life has everything to do with God. But what about when his life takes a turn? You see, close by a bet has been made between two figures. The first believes Jeremy will always be devoted and follow Jesus. The second believes Jeremy will forsake everything about God as soon as life becomes difficult and unfair. Both await the outcome as the second one begins to mess with Jeremy's perfect life. This had never happened to Jeremy before. His mom insisted their family doctor run all kinds of tests. The results were not good. Brain cancer? Jeremy couldn't even bring himself to say it. It still didn't even seem real. But it was real. Real enough that Jeremy had surgery and started chemo 3 times a week. Real enough that Jeremy had to quit the team. Real enough that Jeremy could only do half days at school and his grades were dropping. Real enough that Jeremy didn't think life could get much worse. But it did. Jeremy's dad lost his job. His parents wouldn't stop fighting. His dad eventually moved out. Jeremy's girlfriend dumped him, and they still couldn't find their dog Lefty. Well, Jeremy thought, maybe now life can't get any worse. But life will always surprise you. Jeremy was confused, depressed, angry. He had so many questions for God, but it really came down to just one. Why? Why is any of this happening? He had done nothing wrong. All he did was follow Jesus the best he knew how. Is this how Jesus rewards his followers, Jeremy thought? Just then, his sister entered, crying. His sister told him that they had finally found Lefty out by the side of the road. He was gone. Of course, Jeremy thought. More bad news. Jeremy felt lost. Not even the dog gets a free pass, he thought. Life is just unfair for everyone. But why is that? Why would God allow that? God must have some reason for all this, right? Jeremy just wasn't sure anymore. He wanted to trust God through all this. But he just didn't know if he could. A few friends come by, hoping to encourage Jeremy, let him know that people were still thinking about him. One of them asked, "Do you still believe in Jesus or God or any of that church stuff anymore?" Jeremy couldn't answer him. Then the other spoke up. "Yeah, man. If there is a God up there, why would he allow this to happen to you?" Jeremy couldn't answer. Later in the day, someone from Jeremy's small group at church came by. His name was Carson. Jeremy didn't know him very well, but appreciated the visit. Carson encouraged Jeremy that he and the rest of the group were praying for him. He encouraged Jeremy to continue trusting in God no matter what. Jeremy didn't know if he could do that. Just then, the doctor's office called. He needed to see Jeremy right away. Terminal?
If you've been following Jeremy Porter's story, you know already that he has come up against some really difficult circumstances, things that many of us couldn't ever dream of. And he is beginning to ask the questions that many of us would ask as well. Like, why? Why is this happening to me? Have you ever asked that? I bet a lot of you probably have. I know I have. When things don't seem to make sense, when things don't seem to be going your way, sometimes the most natural question in the world is why? You know, we're actually taking a look at a guy in the Bible. His name is Job. And we're using Jeremy Porter as kind of a way to look at Job's story in a fresh way. But Job was a guy who had everything. He had a great family. He had a lot of stuff and a great career. He had it all. And in one day, it was all taken away. And it didn't make sense to Job. Job followed God with his life. Job believed he was doing everything right. And yet, troubles came anyway. And in the midst of it, Job's friends come to give him some advice and to kind of hear from him. Now, when you're going through something really difficult, one of the best things that can happen is your friends show up. But these friends, they seem to be doing more harm than good. You see, they end up blaming Job for everything going on. And Job knows that he has done nothing wrong, nothing that he felt deserved the punishment that he was receiving. But his friends continue to insist that maybe he's done something that made God angry. But let me encourage you to read Job chapter 10 and listen to the conversation that Job has with God. He pleads with God to give him an answer. Why on earth is this happening? And you know, I bet that all of us at some point in our lives will get to that same place, asking God, why? Why is this thing that I can't control, this thing that hurts, this thing that is so far beyond my capacity to deal with, why is it happening? The question that you'll have to wrestle with is the same question that Job had to, and the same question that Jeremy is walking through right in front of us. It's this: will you still trust God when you don't know the why? That is one question that each of us has to sort out on our own. And I want to encourage you, don't miss part 4 of this Jeremy Porter series, because we're going to see the choices that Jeremy makes. For when he doesn't understand the why for what's going on, what will he do? And maybe we can discover some truths from God's word that can guide us to do similar. Don't miss week 4.